Welcome to the Sideline Live podcast. Subscribe for more episodes and follow our social media at the Sideline Live. We'd love to hear from you. Today I'm delighted to chat with one of Basketball Ireland's best young and upcoming coaches, Erin Bracken. We had a great chat about her playing career, coaching, and she even named her top 3 favourite Super League jerseys. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Hi Erin, thanks a million for coming on the podcast.
Oh, no problem, Orla. Thanks so much for having me.
So what I like to do is I like to give the guest about a minute to kind of explain who they are in their sporting and professional life.
Okay, well, I suppose in Basketball Ireland, I'm like a young coach at the moment working with a senior men's team. I'm the assistant over there in Dublin Lions. We're going to be playing National League, and then I coach underage in both Dublin Lions and Liffey Celtics. I'm actually going back playing this year as well. I'll be playing Division 1 with Liffey Celtics, so that'll be fun. But yeah, at the minute I'm hoping to start a new job soon that's outside of basketball. Kind of like just like a Monday to Friday type thing. So that I can still kind of coach and stuff in the evenings and at the weekend. So yeah, that's me, busy out.
Busy, yeah. And kind of going back to the very start of your playing career even, your mum was a basketball coach, is that correct? Or
Yeah,
she is a basketball coach, sorry.
Yeah. She, I think I've probably told this story before to some people, but she, when I was about 9 or 10, the Liffey Celtics had just kind of started up, and there was just like a leaflet on the door, or like an advertisement on the door in the leagues of communities, just looking for new players or volunteers and stuff like that. So she just decided to bring me up because she used to play years ago herself. So she just brought me up, and when she got chatting to the people that were there at the time, she mentioned that she had played a little bit herself, like with schools, and kind of she was on a Dublin team and stuff like that. And they just handed her a whistle and were like, oh, well, now we've recruited you as one of the coaches kind of starting off in the club. So the two of us started at around the same time, and then she ended up being my coach kind of growing up for a lot of my underage career. So that's kind of how the two of us got involved in Liffey Celtics.
Yeah, and what was that like, having her as your coach for your underage career?
Like, it was fun. Like, I mean, I only just started when I was about 9 or 10. Like, I had absolutely no experience before that, so it was completely new. And like, there was a few other volunteers up there at the time, some that are still around at the, like, now, even as Liffey Celtics being so established. But I mean, it was fun. Like, we played Division 2, like, for a lot of my underage career. It was kind of only when I got to about under 15 or under 16 that we were actually playing Division 1. Like, and then I was playing up, like, on teams, and then she wasn't my coach there. Like, she was my coach kind of for my own age, and then a few other coaches kind of came in then. But yeah, no, it was fun. Like, I mean, it was good. I wouldn't have had it any other way, really.
Brilliant. And then growing up then, did you play anything else, or was it just eat, sleep, breathe basketball?
Well, I played Gaelic football for a while, and then I had to kind of give that up at around under 16 when I made the Irish team, like, for basketball. And it was just the summer, like, it was just everything kind of became really busy then around basketball. So I played football, like, kind of up till under 16. But yeah, I didn't actually really enjoy it that much. Like, it was grand. And
right.
Obviously, yeah, there was a bit of a crossover. Obviously, I know they complement each other very well, and it was something different, like, even like seasonal. But I actually didn't really enjoy it. I played tennis up until I was about under 14 or under 15, which was kind of random as well. But yeah, no, then it was just basketball. Then, like, that just kind of took over. Then
was the football nearly a kind of way to keep you fit in the basketball winter? I'll say, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, definitely.
And then you spoke about there you were selected for the under 16 Irish team. What was that like?
Well, it was it was completely different back then than it is now. Like, we didn't really have a development squad, or like a kind of a program put in place. Like, all I remember is that we had a trial in like February, and then the team was selected in April, and then we went to the Euros in August. So, like, it was very like a very short program. Joey Boylan was the head coach there, and it was just like very kind of put together, like, last minute nearly, like, as in it wasn't like the way the programs are kind of run now. It was we were only kind of getting going again, like, the underage stuff. But I mean, of course, like, it was a great experience to have. And I mean, we weren't that successful in terms of like wins and stuff like that, but it was fine.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of injured my knee during the program as well, and tore meniscus, and then had to have surgery, so that wasn't ideal. But yeah, I was grand. Like, I mean, we got back from it, but it was a great experience. Like, of course, like, to represent your country. In the next kind of couple of years after that, then I realized that that coaching path is probably the one that I'd go down, and then hopefully I might end up representing my country as a coach, you know, rather than as a player again at that point.
And then upon my research, there was a video I came across from SDA. You were obviously, I think it was a workout or something there. Was that ever, like, did an opportunity ever come up for you to go abroad with it? Were you looking to go abroad maybe, or was it just to get extra training in with them?
Well, I have a very good relationship with Paul Cummins, and he, as the kind of founder of SCA, and the two of us would have kind of grown up. When I was younger, I used to work out with him a lot, and then when he kind of set up SCA, he just invited me down. There was no girls at the camp at the time, but he invited me down to work out with an American coach, and like it was positive, and like, you know, there was opportunities there possibly for me to look at going abroad, but I don't think I really wanted to, you know, that way. Like, I think it was kind of a thought that we had, and I talked about it at home a little bit, but then I don't know, it just didn't really appeal to me then. And you know, I tore my ACL like when I was about 19. So like it was just one of those things that like I just didn't kind of pursue it. And I don't regret not going away, you know, like to play. Like it's just one of those things. I kind of forged a different path here, so but yeah, no, it definitely was like talked about and stuff. And then obviously my sister had gone away then, like, so it is like in the family, like we had talked about it, you know, kind of between all of us, but just didn't kind of work out.
Yeah. And you mentioned there you had 2 big injuries to your knee. Do you think that kind of pushed you towards coaching a little bit more?
Well, definitely when I tore my ACL, like I was out for a good year. So that was when I decided that not decided that I was going to take coaching more seriously. I took it seriously anyway, but it was when I kind of researched a little bit more and really developed myself just in terms of like kind of studying it. And yeah, like, I mean, I rehabbed there, and you know, I got back and it's fine. Like I have absolutely zero problems with it now. Like it's not as if I decided not to play again, and like I didn't see it as like career ending. Like, you know, I got back and was grand. Like I was, you know, I don't have any problems with it, but I definitely think I started to enjoy the coaching side of things a lot more because it kept me involved in the game when I couldn't play. You know, and it gave me kind of a completely different outlook, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, that's good. And when did you start coaching? It was before your ACL?
Yeah, I was quite young. Like I remember I was about 15, and I had an interest of going up to like the academy in Liffey Celtics, or I had kind of coached at the academy a little bit, but then I had an interest in taking a team. So it would have been like an under 10 team coming through then that would have started playing like jamborees and stuff like that. So I remember contacting like the club, and I remember I got in touch with Anya O'Connor, who at the time was 18. So like, and I asked her if she wanted to do it with me. So the two of us decided to take this under 10 team together. And then we had them all the way through to under 18. So like we were both quite young when we started off, you know, but the two of us did it together. So I definitely think it helps, like, you know, having both of us to bounce stuff off, and then, you know, to kind of grow together in terms of coaching and then helping the group of girls. So it was so much fun.
Yeah, it was probably nice as well to be at the age that you're still playing, as in you can relate to a lot of the things that the girls are doing, and you can really create these game situations for them as well in training.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, well, the first 3 or 4 years, like, well, I suppose we had loads of fun throughout the whole thing, but I mean, they were only 9 and 10. Like, it's mad looking back, you know. Like you just forget like how young they are, like, you know, and the stuff that you do with them, you know. It was obviously all development, fundamentals, fun, like just keeping everything fun, lighthearted. Like, I mean, I think we had 18 to 20 players on the squad, like, you know, up until we were about under 13, you know, like we had loads of girls, like, but yeah, obviously it got a little bit more serious then when you hit maybe under 16, like, but up until that point, like, it was just myself and Anya were just kind of going with it, like, and just making sure the girls enjoyed themselves and just making sure that everyone was included. But yeah, no, we definitely just learned a lot, like, throughout the whole thing, and it definitely did help that we were players, because we had both been coached by different coaches. And then at a certain point then, when I hit like say 16, 17, I was playing with Anya like on the Super League team. And you know, we were struggling, and we were struggling a lot at that time. Like, that was around the time where we were losing a lot of games, and you know, it was only when a couple of years after that the club at senior level started to kind of be successful. So it definitely helps to have a little under 12 team to go back to if you're losing all your Super League games. It was doing, you know, it kind of puts things into perspective, you know, lets you know why you actually do things.
Yeah, brilliant. And it's probably nice for them as well to see you guys coaching them and going out and playing Super League at the same time. You know, there is that bit of a connection to the Super League and to the senior women's team.
Oh yeah, definitely. Sure, like they used to come to our games and they'd have posters, and the home support that we had, like that those couple of years that we struggled was unreal. Like, I mean, I
Yeah.
remember teams coming to us, like, and we were losing all of our games, like, and them saying, "Oh God," but we didn't want to play at home because we had so much home support. Like, so it was always
Yeah.
great, like, to see them in the crowd. But it's mad, like, that even last week I was up at senior, like, Division 1 training, and like one of our point guards that we've had since she was like 8, Ada Bowler is her name, like, I'm going playing with her now. So she
Yeah.
was laughing, she was like, "Oh my God, like, we're playing together." Like, so it's just strange, like. And
Yeah.
then even like my sister Kira, like, she'll be playing with Anya this year, and like she was one of the point guards that we had and that we coached. So they're at that age now where they're actually playing senior basketball with myself and Anya, so it's
Yeah.
nice to see that transition.
That's good, yeah. And did you like the coaching straight away, or did it take a bit of time to get used to it? Was there a bit of a learning curve there?
Oh yeah, there's definitely a learning curve. Like, I mean, I definitely liked it straight away, otherwise I wouldn't have stuck it out probably.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was always those things that the club need volunteers. They need those kind of players to go back and try and give back and help out or whatever. There's only so much kind of parents and stuff can do, and then you have obviously coach education is important, like, so to have like players or coaches that are willing to put in a bit of time to develop themselves. But I mean, it definitely was a learning curve, like, definitely, like.
Mhm.
And then especially then I got into coaching boys kind of when I was about 18 or 19, so I'd had the girls for a few years before I took a boys team.
Mhm.
So having both boys and girls probably throughout, like, underage, definitely helped, just in terms of it being different, kind of just like different leagues nearly, like, in different styles of play.
Yeah. And then you obviously had your mum there as a role model and a mentor for your coaching career. Did you have any other sort of people you could reach out to and get advice off?
Well, yeah, like, on the basketball front, even to this day, like, I'll chat to different coaches, like, about different things, and it's important to have people that you can reach out to. Like, I know I work closely with Rob White over in Dublin Lions, and like, he's done an incredible job over there on the underage side. Like, the kids are phenomenal. Like, some of the stuff that he's doing with them is amazing. Like, so he's a good person that I would have reached out to even when I was younger. And then I'll often talk to Puff, so everyone knows Puff, so I'll often text him or talk to him about different things. And like, yeah, there's definitely people in basketball, like, that you could reach out to and chat about different situations. I know I mentioned before, like, that my dad is a camogie and a hurling coach, and like, he's very good at what he does in the kind of GAA side. So like, he would have been somebody that you could talk to on a personal level, like, and how he dealt with kind of different situations and different characters and people. Like, he's very good in that way. So yeah, it's important, I think, that you can reach out to people to have these conversations.
And it's probably good as well to be able to bounce ideas off him. Like, he's not involved in basketball, and he could maybe see your ideas and maybe take something from the likes of Gaelic or camogie that you could use. Like, obviously at the moment there's been huge crossover between the two sports. Like, I think Mark Ingle was involved with the Dublin Senior Men's. Was there anything that you maybe looked at in other sports that you said, you know what, I'm going to take that drill or that style of play into my own coaching?
Well, of course there's a big crossover, and like, you can adapt drills and stuff like that, but it's more just principles, I think, or even concepts, or kind of just, even aside from the technicalities of the sport, like, more the way in which you might do things, or in how you might communicate, or that way. Like, it's I know,
yeah.
like, I know from my dad as well, like, we have conversations about, like, obviously in basketball, like, you've timeouts, and it's a much more closed environment, like, so you can actually communicate a little bit easier. But like, he was talking about having cues and stuff like that for his teams that he can use, because so that because they can't call timeout, like, and they can't kind of have like, so he's actually taken a bit from the basketball side of things, from what I can gather anyway, like, in terms of communicating, like, and even the girls out on the pitch. So yeah.
That's brilliant. Yeah, it's good for him to be able to bounce ideas off you even. And what do you think is sort of like the biggest misconception about coaching?
Well, I suppose there's as important and all as the technical aspect of it is, and like, people think that you need to know everything in terms of like the X's and O's of basketball. Like, it is important, but it's going to boil down to the actual relationship, like, that you have with your players, like, and how you can get them to play kind of together, like, and have that kind of cohesiveness on the court. Like, it's not going to be down to the X's and O's a lot of the time. Like, it's going to be some of the smaller things, like, and maybe in terms of like discipline and all the fundamentals. And I think a lot of coaches can probably in this day and age like try and put in all of these like special offenses and, you know, talk about all of the technicalities of it, but at the end of the day, like that's probably not what's going to be the difference between you and a team, like, you know, in terms of being successful or whatever. Like I think like I definitely be one that values the coach player relationship like a lot, and making sure that you can relate to them on a level and that you actually care about them, like, and as people, you know, before even as players, like, you know. So I think that's probably the biggest thing for me, is that, you know, this whole thing of X's and O's and drawing up all of these pick and roll stuff and flare screens and all this crack, like of course I like it, you know, I like learning about that side of things, but I definitely think the personal level of it is the most important.
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned it there with the likes of the drills and stuff. What is your sort of go-to drills or sort of concepts that you would like doing in training with the teams?
Well, I know that over the last little while, small-sided games have become a massive part of all sport, like, so not even just basketball. I know Kieran Dunn did a very good clinic there kind of at the start of lockdown about small-sided games, and I know lots of coaches use them a lot, so we would just play a lot. Like I'd just be a fan of playing, maybe giving offense an advantage a lot, like playing a lot of like 4v3 or 5v4, and then just scrimmage loads, like, and, you know, just make it as competitive as possible, like, because it's, you know, maybe put in different rules and stuff like that depending on what your emphasis is on that day or in that particular session. But like I try not to do as many drills like without kind of contact or without any sort of defense, like a lot of the time, like, you know, it's mainly just all playing, like just to try and get them into the habit of doing stuff, like, you know, that you kind of want them to do. So just playing a lot, like.
Yeah, brilliant. And what do you think is the best part about coaching for you?
Well, I've kind of mentioned it already there, but it's definitely just the relationships that you build with people. Like, you know, like even like I said there earlier on, that myself and Ada like are going playing together this year. Like, you know, like for me, like that's great. Like, I mean, we won a national cup together under 18, like, so we won the under 16 All Ireland, and we won a national cup together under 18. Like, she was one of the captains, like she lifted the trophy, and now we're going playing like senior division 1 together, like, which is, I think is so funny, like, you know, and it's great. Like, so as much and all as like you remember like lifting trophies and getting your medals or whatever, but it's all the trips and it's all of the bonding that you do, and it's the relationships that you make. Like, you know, you'll still get text messages from players that you coached like 4 years ago, and you can actually just chat to them wherever you meet them, and, you know, like they'll still remember you as their coach, like. And I think it's genuinely just the relationships that you build with people is the best part for me.
Yeah, brilliant. And then kind of on the flip side of that, what are the sort of biggest challenges that you face as a coach?
Like in general, or this season, or
in general, or even as a female coach, are there any sort of challenges that you have faced or are facing at the moment?
Well, I think it's funny because I haven't coached like an underage team, as in like young in a while. So I'm actually coaching under 13 boys this season. And they're great. Like, I mean, like some of them are so extremely talented. Like, you know, the skill level is unbelievable for the age of them, but they literally just cry all the time. Like, you know, and I'm at training, and I'll come home from training and be like, all right, Leah, only like one of them cried today or two of them cried. Like, and, you know, you just forget like how young some of them are. Like, there's a couple of 10-year-olds, and they're crying because they're so competitive, and if they lose a game or you don't make a call in a scrimmage that they're playing up and down and they get fouled and you don't call it, and they start crying and they're moaning, and, you know, like, it's this sort of thing. And I just find it so funny, like, because it's just it's definitely, you were used
to sort of the adult
adult
players for
like,
a while.
I mean, definitely, like, give me an under like 16 team up like any day, you know. But now I decided to challenge myself and go back and take an under 13 team, and, you know, it's definitely going to make me better as a coach, like, to appreciate kind of from the very beginning, like, in terms of fundamentals, and, you know, trying to get them all to play together and like channel their competitiveness into a way that it's actually going to be helpful for us, and as well as making them realize that it's supposed to be fun, because there's so many times that they're just so competitive that you know, you wonder, are they even actually like enjoying it? But you don't want to take that competitiveness away from them. But no, like, I think that's actually, aside from all the senior stuff going on, like that's actually a big challenge, like, for me, like, is that I haven't had a team of like 10 or 11-year-olds in a long time. So you know, so that it's fun now. I'm really enjoying it, and I just hope that games and stuff can start soon, because there's only so much of this pod training that you can do, you know, or training outdoors or whatever. But I think with them, it's like just it's going to be fun to kind of watch them grow and develop possibly over the next couple of years. And then obviously then on the flip side, you have the senior men who, you know, we were relegated last year from Super League and we're in National League this year. And obviously the season could potentially be quite messy. Like we don't really know, you know, if it'll kind of we'll get to play the whole year kind of uninterrupted. But there is a certain level of expectation for us, you know, after getting relegated to possibly win National League, you know, and get promoted. But I mean, it's not going to be just as easy as that. Like, you know, there's obviously some very good teams out there and, you know, people are recruiting well and there's some new additions into the National League. So, and we're still extremely young. Like if it's even possible, we're even younger than we were last year. So there is that certain level of expectation even from us, you know, like that we have our sights set on trying to get back to Super League next year, like, and then try and see can we stay there and maintain a Super League status. So obviously like that's going to be a bit of a challenge, you know, making sure that we can kind of overcome any adversity that we face and maybe that we peak come playoffs, like, you know, and then we make sure that we put ourselves in the promotion contention.
And as you mentioned there with training with the pods with the under-13s, that's probably also a challenge as well to try get everyone, you know, training well in these small little groups.
Yeah, no, it is. Like, I mean, it's grand because we actually are quite lucky. Like, we have access to a lot of outdoor courts in Colostabreed, so we can because when the weather's nice, we can take a lot of them outside. But I mean, we're just playing a lot of 3v3, like, which I like playing anyway. Like, I really enjoy the FIBA 3v3, especially during the summer. And we'll even do a lot during the season. But we're just trying to play a lot of 3v3 stuff and do lots of skill work and lots of shooting and, you know, whatever we can kind of do. But hopefully in the next week or so or whatever, we get news that we can actually start kind of training together as a team again.
And then kind of talking about your role with Dublin Lions and their senior team, what is your sort of pre-game routine as a coach? I love to ask all the players, but I'm interested to hear, what do coaches do before the game? Do you have any sort of superstition maybe?
Not really. I'm actually not very superstitious. Like, so no, I actually wouldn't really. Like, I would just kind of show up and then, you know, like you might chat to a few of the players before the game or whatever, and then myself and Rob generally would go down to the staff room in Colostabreed, like for a home game, and just have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and just chat about like what we're kind of, and we just let the lads off to warm up themselves, and, you know, like we'll kind of take ourselves away from the warm up a bit initially, and then, you know, we'll bring the lads out for a chat, and then when we get them back on the court then for the last whatever, say 15 minutes or 12 minutes of the warm up. But no, I don't really have any pre-game routine. Like, I generally just show up and hopefully like it goes well. Like,
yeah, brilliant. And then if you had your choice to kind of go anywhere in the world and just observe for a week and nearly be a fly on the wall, what coach would you love to just watch and just take notes from for about a week of training and matches?
God, a week isn't even that much, I suppose, but
yeah.
I was thinking it would probably have to be Brad Stevens with the Boston Celtics. I just think that, you know, reading up on him and, you know, listening to stuff that he said and done in the past and even now, like, and that is his IQ and his leadership skills are just phenomenal. Like, so I think I'd like to definitely observe him.
Yeah, he's a good choice. I was looking at there was sort of like a mini documentary of Gordon Hayward at his time at Butler, and it was about, like, he was saying how Brad was just amazing coach, and he's also quite a young coach as well to learn from.
Yeah.
Which is good to see.
I think it would definitely be him.
Yeah.
At the moment, anyway.
Yeah, and then kind of taking it back to the Super League, what would be your top 5 favourite Super League jerseys? I know you were stumped on this one, and you can't pick Liffey Celtics. I'm not giving you Liffey Celtics.
I don't know. Are we talking like the women's or the men's or both or what? I don't really know. Like,
it's up to yourself. I won't limit you to the male or female.
I don't know. I kind of do like the blue and white. So like I like the Waterford Wildcats and I like Landmeyer and even like Neptune or whatever, like those kind of colours. The blue and white I like, but I don't really know. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's difficult. Like, I don't know.
It's a tough question. We'll go with those 3. We'll say top 3 favourite, and then which do you prefer, coaching or playing? I had to ask.
It's so different. Like, you get such a different kind of feeling and like buzz from either. But I definitely think I'd have to say coaching, just because of the path that I've kind of taken in terms of, like, I did my master's in coaching, like, and that's kind of the career that I wouldn't mind like I'd love to go into, like, you know, possibly even going away in the future, like to coach abroad somewhere, like would be appealing. But I mean, I love playing, like, and I took a year out last year just because I was so busy, like with kind of coaching and stuff like that, but I missed it a lot, and that's why I wanted to go back this season. So that's why I can try and play D1, like, and juggle that as much as coaching. You know, obviously I can't play and coach at like a National League or Super League level, but no, I definitely have to say that I do prefer coaching, just because of the enjoyment that you kind of get from, you know, being with the kids and even with the lads or whatever. Like, you know, I definitely think that I get a different kind of a feeling from that anyways.
Yeah, and there's less running as well.
Yeah, which always helps. Actually, you know what, I don't mind. One of the reasons why I wanted to go back playing was that I don't have to go out and run or do stuff like that, because I'll scrimmage all day, but like I can't just go out and run or try and keep fit that way.
Yeah, brilliant. And then my final question before we move on to the last few, if I had dream coaching job written down, but I'm gonna change it up a little bit. I'm gonna say, if you could be handed the keys to any NBA team for next season, who would it be?
Jesus,
I know it's a tough one, I know.
I don't know, like, that is tough. Like, I have to say, this year I haven't really kept up to date with a lot of the stuff. Like, I watched some of the games, like, in the bubble or whatever, but haven't really kept up to date. Like, when I always enjoyed watching the Golden State Warriors play when they were so fun to watch, like, and they were kind of stacked there a few years ago. But, like, I don't really have an allegiance, like, to one team. Like, I just kind of like watching good basketball. I know the Heat were playing very good basketball, and so were Boston, and, like, you know, I don't know. I honestly, I actually don't know how to answer it. Like, if it comes that Giannis is going to the Golden State Warriors next season, I might have to say them, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's it is. It's quite a tough question.
Which is a possibility. Yeah,
it's a tough question. Sorry to spring it on you. And kind of maybe taking it away from the NBA. And you were saying you go abroad. Is there any particular kind of team you'd love to coach?
Well, I don't really know about teams or whatever, and I definitely am going to research it a little bit more over the next year or so, just about possibly even going somewhere in Spain or I don't know. I know I spoke to different people before over in Canada, because I think that Canada is a place that they play actual, like, FIBA style basketball as well, so it's not, you know, it's a bit different than the States. I just don't think the States is appealing at the minute, like, with the way that everything's gone. And you know, just I think I'd be avoiding going over there. Like, it would just be somewhere else, maybe in Europe, or possibly going to Canada. Yeah.
It's probably not a time maybe to be thinking about going abroad as well with COVID. It's just
exactly
there's so much uncertainty at the moment. And then kind of moving on to our final piece, which is what's called the Sideline 7. So it's just the same 7 questions for every guest, so they can compare the answers. It's sort of fire round, thought provoking, but you can take as long as you want. Question 1 is going to be, what is your favourite quote?
Okay, so I just finished reading Phil Jackson's book there, 11 Rings, there the other week, and I really liked one of the quotes that was in that book, so I'm going to go with that one. And it was, the way you do anything is the way you do everything.
Okay, that's
so brilliant. It was kind of talking about character and just kind of consistency as well.
Yeah, would you recommend that book out of interest?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like, I really enjoyed it, because obviously I love The Last Dance, but it was Phil Jackson was the one that I was interested most in to have even a documentary about, like, you know, especially then, of how he just dealt with everybody. Like, it was I really enjoyed the book now, I have to say, like, the insight into how he was able to, you know, manage, like, the different personalities, and then when he went from there to the Lakers or whatever. So no, I did really like it now, I have to say.
Brilliant. I have to add that to my list. And then what is the best sporting event you've been to?
I suppose I'd have to say when the Irish girls got the silver medal in the arena. Like, I definitely think that was incredible. Like, and to be involved as a supporter, you know, and just watch, like, and just enjoy, like, the way they performed and the success that they had. So it'd have to be that when we hosted the Euros in Dublin.
And what is the biggest setback or challenge so far in your career? And that can be playing and coaching, because I know you spoke about your injuries before.
I suppose it probably was the ACL injury. Like, it is very tough, like, you know, in terms of the work that has to go into rehab and stuff like that. But I mean, I enjoyed it because I don't think I was in great kind of shape beforehand in terms of, like, conditioning. And, you know, I enjoyed getting into the gym. That kind of got me into the gym a bit more. And also, while I was injured, it actually, you know, I got into the coaching side of it a lot more. Like, I decided to focus on that. So even though it was a bit of a setback in terms of it was an injury and I was sidelined in terms of playing, it actually was a bit of a blessing, I think, in the end, you know, because I came back and I was fine, and I probably am stronger than I was before physically, and then you know I learned a lot more in terms of coaching then. So
yeah, so it was nearly a challenge, but you took the positive side and you did a spin on it and got into coaching other things.
Yeah, definitely.
And then what is your biggest achievement on or off the court?
Oh God, I suppose on the court would probably have to be when we won the Under-18 National Cup with the girls. Like myself and Anya, like I said, I'd had them since they were 9. Like they were under 10s, like, and I have pictures of us at jamborees, and they're literally babies. And then we went from there to, you know, kind of building a nice like squad, like, and then we ended up winning the National Cup, like, and that was incredible. Like they went and, you know, they just were a credit to themselves, like, and it was unbelievable, like, to be part of it, because you just watch them grow so much, like, over those kind of 8 or 9 years. Like I think it was nearly 10 years in total, like, or 8 or 9 years or something that we had them, you know. So I think that probably has to be the like the best achievement, like, on the course. And then
it's probably nearly a fairy tale ending, like, you know, you've had them for 10 years and you get this big huge like national cup win, like that's really a storybook ending nearly.
Yeah, it was actually. You probably couldn't have written it better, but and a lot of the time things, you know, it doesn't always go like that, you know. I think it's then even last year, so we, like, that was 2 years ago, and then you don't actually realize how much you take those things for granted, because, you know, last year then I was involved with the men's team, and, you know, we struggled and we picked up one win through the whole season, like, you know, like national cups and wins and so, like, they're hard to come by. Like, it's not as if that just happens all the time. So that's probably why, even looking back on it, and you put the winning and losing into perspective, like, it does mean a lot. Like, you know, like, we showed up that morning to play the game, and we were playing Wildcats, who were unbelievable, you know, like, they were so good. They were definitely our biggest kind of rival or competitor throughout our whole underage. Like, we played them in the under-16 All-Ireland, like, final. We played them in the Laura Brennan. We played them in the group stages of National Cup. Like, we played them so much throughout those couple of years, and we'd beaten them every time, but only by like 2 points. Like, it was literally only like one possession, like, either way. So we knew that the game could kind of go either way. Like, it wasn't supposed to be like, oh yeah, we should win this. Like, you know, on paper maybe, but you don't say, you can't go with that in finals. Like, you know, you're on the biggest stage in the basketball arena. Like, so it was great. Like, you know, it was fitting, like, to have the season finish like that. Or not really the season, I suppose, because it was in January, but to have kind of our underage kind of career finish like that.
Yeah, and it wasn't like, you know, you obviously fought for that win. It wasn't like Wildcats were going to let you walk all over them and hand you the cup.
No, absolutely not. Like, I mean, obviously Tommy O'Mahony is one of the more established, like, coaches in the women's basketball, you know, with the Irish teams. His Irish teams have been very, very good over the last number of years. And then you'd Abby Flynn, like, who's one of the best guards in the country. And, like, Debbie was incredible. Like, you know, they have some very, very talented players. Like, so it wasn't like we were showing up playing a team that we expected to beat. Like, we knew it was going to be a dogfight. Like, and the Wildcats were up nearly the whole game. Like, you know, it was kind of only in the second half and a bit kind of in the fourth quarter that we kind of got back into it a little bit. It wasn't even our best performance. Like, you know, when you look back on it, you're kind of critical, like, as a coach. Like, you're like, okay, well, what could we have done differently? Obviously, like, you reflect and, you know, you put yourself in that position that if you're ever there again, like, what could be different? Because, like, we thought we had our scouting report down and we had done video, and obviously we'd practiced hard, and the girls obviously wanted it, but we didn't really execute like we wanted to on the day. But I mean, my dad had always told me that finals are for winning, and it wasn't going to be about the performance in the end. Like, so we just got it done, which is what we kind of needed to do.
Totally. And it probably made it that bit sweeter as well, having the comeback and coming back and just and winning the game. Yeah,
I mean, like, it was a tie game, I suppose, like, for about a minute and a half or 2 minutes, like, left in the fourth quarter. Like, and then I remember the play very well. Like, Wildcats were pressing and we just pushed the ball up the court, and Katie just got a right hand layup. Like, it was so simple, like, you know, and then that put us up 2, and then we just held that lead. They had a shot to win it at the end, with like 2.8 seconds left or something like that. And I just remember standing on the sideline, the ball was coming in right in front of our bench, and I was like, oh my God, like, the whistle just needs to go, like, at this point, like, we were up 2. But it was I mean, of course, like, it was such a good feeling. But it was more for the girls, like, just to have, because they were all so close, like, you know, they'd grown up playing together for years. And I was delighted then, even last year, I suppose, like, we didn't have a 20s, like, you know, we didn't really have a team at that age, but Wildcats went and then won the 20s National Cup last year. So I suppose they got their cup in the end, and I was happy for them.
Fantastic.
It wasn't
And
against us, so
then,
it was fine.
yeah, that's the main
Yeah.
point. And then, kind of looking back, what advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
Oh God. I suppose when you're young, like when you're a bit younger, like you think that you're going to have your whole life sorted and figured out like by this age. Like I think I thought when I was like 16, 17 that by the time I'm 25 you're going to have a house, you're going to have this, you're going to have that, and like, you know, you'll be all, so I'm sure I don't at all, like, you know, and you don't have your life sorted or figured out. And like I suppose I'd probably tell that person, give them a heads up, like that's that's okay, like, you know, like not to stress about it, and like the stuff that you can't really control, that kind of stuff happens and comes up and gets in the way, and you know, like they're all experiences that you have to actually kind of live in and enjoy, like, so not to kind of stress about those things.
And then the last few people I've had on have turned this dinner guest into a dinner party. So you can have one, or you can have multiple. It's up to yourself. So if you get a choice of anyone in the world to kind of sit down and have a dinner with, who would it be and why?
Oh God, that's such a tough question. So I can see why they turned it into a dinner party, but I suppose I was kind of thinking about it, and after reading Phil Jackson's book, I think I'd want to have dinner with him and like talk more like about how he was able to do what he did, like in term, and even just to pick his brain on the whole mindfulness topic and the meditation, and how he dealt with all the different personalities and stuff that he talked about throughout his book, and that you've seen kind of throughout The Last Dance and, you know, in the documentary there. But I think it would probably have to be him after reading his book. Like, it's kind of fresh in my mind and I'd like to talk to him.
That'd be a good guess. I think I might join with that one.
Yeah, I'll have you on as well.
Yeah, definitely. And then if this is my very final question, if your life was a book, what chapter would this be called? I know you were stumped with this one.
Yeah, I was, and I said that all I could say was I probably didn't know what to call the chapter of my life, and which was probably fitting, because you're kind of in that no man's land at the minute, where I'm going to be probably starting a new job, but then I'm still would like to pursue a career in basketball, and then personally things are just mad. So I don't know. Yeah, I think I don't know what I call it, and it probably is fitting for the way things are at the minute.
Yeah, that's interesting. We haven't had that answer before. So that's
yeah,
a
I'm
good
not
answer. We'll take that. So Erin, look, I really appreciate you coming on. We're coming up to the 40-minute mark, so thanks a million, and I wish you the best of luck this season with all of your teams and yourself with your own playing career. Thanks a million.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Good chatting to you. Bye.
A huge thank you to Erin for joining me today. If you're a coach looking for more advice off Erin, be sure to check out her interview with Basketball Ireland in their Women in Coaching series, which will be linked in the description box below. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure to leave a rating and a review, as it does help the podcast to grow. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you in the next one.